He is arguably the most dominant figure in human history. His name is recognized on every continent, in every culture. But who truly was Jesus of Nazareth? A wandering sage, a political revolutionary, a moral philosopher, or, as billions believe, the Son of God in human form? Prepare for a journey that transcends religion to explore the life, the message, and the inexplicable power of the man who, over 2,000 years ago, split history into before and after. Stay with us, because the events we are about to recount defy ordinary explanation and continue to shape our world today. Our story begins not in a palace, but in the rustic obscurity of Nazareth in Galilee. For 30 years, Jesus lived a quiet, unremarkable life as a carpenter, a tekton in Greek craftsman. This long period of silence is a profound mystery in itself, a quiet preparation for a ministry that would last only 3 short years, but would ignite a fire that has never been extinguished. At the age of 30, everything changes. Jesus emerges from his quiet life and is baptized by his cousin, John, in the Jordan River. This marks the beginning of his public ministry. He gathers a small, unlikely group of 12 disciples fishermen, a tax collector, ordinary men, and begins to travel the dusty roads of Galilee. His message is radical and countercultural. He speaks of a kingdom of God, a reality where the last are first, the poor are blessed, and mercy triumphs over judgment. His teachings, like the Sermon on the Mount, are not just moral codes. They are a direct challenge to the religious hypocrisy and social injustices of his time. But it wasn't just his words that drew the massive crowds. It was his actions. The historical accounts in the Gospels describe a series of miracles that defy scientific explanation. He doesn't just heal the sick, he restores them completely. The blind see, the lame walk, the lepers are made clean with a touch or a command. These acts weren't mere displays of power. They were presented as tangible signs that God's kingdom was breaking into human history. His authority seemed to extend over the very laws of nature. When a violent storm threatens to capsize his disciples' boat on the Sea of Galilee, he simply stands and rebukes the wind and the waves, bringing an instant calm. When faced with a hungry crowd of over 5,000, he takes a meager offering of 5 loaves and 2 fish and multiplies it, feeding everyone until they are satisfied. These events were recorded not as magic tricks, but as demonstrations of a divine authority that operates beyond the known physical world. The pinnacle of his miracles, and the most staggering claim of all, was his power over death itself. The most famous account is that of his friend Lazarus, who had been dead and buried for 4 days. Standing before the tomb, Jesus calls him by name, and Lazarus emerges alive. This act cemented his fame, but also sealed his fate. The religious authorities, fearing his power and growing influence, began to actively plot his destruction. Jesus' journey leads him to Jerusalem, the heart of Jewish religious power. He enters the city to the cheers of the crowd, but he knows his path leads not to a throne, but to a cross. He confronts the money changers in the temple, accusing them of turning a house of prayer into a den of robbers. The tension boils over. During a final Passover meal with his disciples, he predicts his own betrayal and death. That night, he is arrested, betrayed by one of his own. What follows is a swift and unjust trial. Accused of blasphemy by the Jewish leaders and sedition by the Romans, he is condemned by Pontius Pilate to crucifixion, the most brutal form of Roman execution. He is scourged, crowned with thorns, and forced to carry his cross to Golgotha, the place of the skull. There he is nailed to the cross. For his followers, it was the absolute end. Hope was dead. His body is taken down and laid in a borrowed tomb, sealed with a heavy stone. But the story doesn't end in that tomb. 3 days later, in the early morning light, the impossible happens. The tomb is found empty. An angel announces the news that would form the bedrock of Christianity. He is not here. He has risen. In the following days, Jesus reportedly appears to his disciples, not as a ghost, but in a physical, resurrected body. He eats with them, talks with them, and gives them a final mission: to spread his message to the ends of the earth. The resurrection transformed a small group of terrified followers into a global movement. The belief that Jesus had conquered death gave them an unshakable courage to face persecution and martyrdom, spreading Christianity throughout the Roman Empire and beyond. Regardless of one's personal faith, the impact of Jesus of Nazareth on history is undeniable. His teachings on love, forgiveness, and compassion have shaped Western civilization and inspired countless movements for social justice. The question remains, who was this man, who in just 33 years left such a permanent mark on the soul of humanity? The life of Jesus is one of the most powerful stories ever told. Which miracle or teaching of his impacts you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to continue exploring the lives and legacies of history's most influential figures, subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. Until our next historical journey.